Wow. You know what I see from here? A red ocean of passion, of love, of fire. That's what you are. So thank you. President Towers, members of the Board of Trustees, distinguished faculty, proud parents, families, friends, and most importantly, you, the graduates. Today, you take a personal leap toward your dreams and a collective step into a world that urgently needs your courage, your creativity, and your commitment. Yours is a generation called to heal divisions, defend human dignity, and protect the only planet called home. With this degree, I also applaud. With this degree, you carry not only knowledge, but a shared responsibility for the future we are building together. Congratulations. This moment is yours. It is yours. It is deeply humbling to stand before you to receive this honorary degree from the New School, an institution that has long stood at a crossroads of progressive thinking, social commitment, and creative expression. I deeply believe in the power of words. As a linguist by training and a poet by vocation, over the years, I have come to see words not just as tools of communication, but as instruments of memory, of resistance, and transformation. Words shape reality, and poetry has always been my deepest form of expression. So today, I want to begin with a few lines from a poem I wrote some years ago, titled Matilde. Originally, of course, it was written in Spanish, but I have translated it for you. Matilde was an indigenous woman who helped raise me in Ecuador, a second mother. She could not read or write, and she spoke primarily in Quechua. But she taught me lessons more enduring than any textbook. Lessons of care, of dignity, and the knowledge that lives in silence, in gesture, and in ancestral memory. Let me read it for you. Matilde, I yearn to hold you in my memory's trapeze. You are brewed coffee, the language of animals, the secrets you shared with the canary, the soaked bread you passed from your mouth to the cat's mouth or to mine. I long to carry you deeper inside or out, in the hidden pouch along my back, in the tattoos beneath my skin, in the courtyards of my ancestors, in my rustic words. I wish to nest myself within your weathered lines, to keep some of you for myself. I share Matilde's story to remind you of something you already know, something you've lived during your years at the New School. Education takes many forms. Some of our most powerful lessons are taught outside of the classroom, but passed down through relationships, memory, and lived experience. As you know, the New School was found in 1919, at a time of profound global rupture. The First World War had withdrawn borders. The Spanish flu was sweeping continents. Empires were crumbling. Movements for justice, suffrage, and decolonization were gaining momentum. It was in this era of upheaval and hope that the new school was born. Today, we stand at another historic crossroads. We are emerging from a global pandemic that claimed over 7 million lives. Armed conflicts are multiplying. Over 120 million people have been forcibly displaced. And our planet is crying out. 2024 was the hottest year on record, and 2025 is on track to surpass it. So Mother Earth is speaking to us and is sounding urgent alarms, and yet we continue to look away. As new professionals entering this complex world, you must ask yourselves, how will I respond? How will I transform? I believe the answer begins reclaiming 4 essential powers. First, the transformative power of words. As a young student in a French school, I loved poetry but struggled with memorization. I remember being asked to recite Gérard de Nerval, Je suis le ténébreux, le veuf, l'inconsolé. And yet, I would sometimes pause and create my own verses to my professor's dismay. For me, poems only came alive when I could make them my own. This taught me something very lasting. Language only becomes meaningful when we inhabit it, when we question it, and we carry it into our lived reality. You graduate into a world shaped by screens and simulations where truth competes with illusion, and influence is measured in likes and algorithms. Generative AI now creates text, images, even entire realities, but with hidden costs. By 2027, AI data centers are projected to consume as much water annually as half of the United Kingdom. More urgent still is the erosion of trust it reflects and deepens. A global survey last year found that 70% of people believe journalists deliberately mislead. In the US, less than 1 in 3 adults believe most people can be trusted. From today, you are called to help rebuild the foundations of truth and dialogue with courage and with dignity. In a world of noise, the act of listening, truly listening, is among our most radical and necessary tools. But of course, words are not enough. They must lead to action. And here is the second power, the power of collective action. The challenges we face today, climate change, inequalities, displacement, are too vast for any one person or country. They require collective purpose. In my years in the Amazon with indigenous communities, I learned the meaning of minga, a Quechua expression for collective work. A minga is not about status. It is about showing up, giving what you have, time, skill, spirit, and doing it together. Thousands of miles away, in the Zulu tradition of Southern Africa, we find the same wisdom, Ubuntu. It's called Ubuntu. I am because you are. This deep sense of social interdependence is not only philosophy, it is a way of organizing society, of defining humanity, of building a shared future. As you step into your professional lives, remember this. Cooperation is not born out of harmony. It emerges from difference, from the willingness to listen, to negotiate, to build shared ground despite contrasting interests. In a world that is not defined by unanimity, but by uncertainty and tension, learning to work together may be the most critical skill of all. I learned that as a young activist and as a diplomat. Believe me, true change is never the work of one. It is the power of many. In a time of division and complexity, your greatest strength will be your ability to stand together, to lead together, to act in the spirit of we. The future is built in common, and it begins with you. Here and now, it begins with you. And this, of course, demands new forms of leadership. So the third power comes here, the power of reinventing leadership. Let me share a brief personal story with you, and especially with the extraordinary women graduating today. You know that you make up for 70% of this is remarkable, a remarkable figure. 70% of the graduates are women. So to you, my heartfelt recognition. You embody not only personal achievement, but the collective hope for a better world. You're not only part of the future, you are now shaping, leading, and transforming today. You are rising in a world that was not built for you, but that desperately needs you. Your voices, your courage, and your leadership are not just welcome. They are essential. So please, let us take a moment to celebrate every woman in the graduating class of 2025. Bravo. And you know, the path you're building, you're forging a path for others to follow, like you. And the story I wanted to share with you is when I became Ecuador's Minister of Defense. I entered a space not designed for someone like me, a woman. I vividly remember my first military parade as Minister of Defense and how the newspapers covered it the next day. Not a word about my vision, my policies, or my priorities. Instead, the headlines focus on my green dress. She's wearing green to match the military uniforms, they speculated. And this, of course, wasn't an exception. It is a reflection of deep-rooted bias. Today, women make up of half of the world's population, yet only 25 countries are led by women. In 80 years of the United Nations, only 4 women have presided over the General Assembly, and we have never had a female UN Secretary General. Now it's the time. Now is the time. So, and believe me, this is not just about underrepresentation. It is a failure to realize the full potential of our societies. And consider this. In the time it has taken to deliver this speech, at least one woman or girl has been killed because of gender-based violence. Representation matters, of course, but we need more than presence. We need a new definition of leadership. Leadership as service, not as privilege. Leadership as empathy, not control. Leadership as shared power, not power over others. And finally, the fourth power, the power of interconnection. As we face converging crises, ecological, social, geopolitical, we must return to truth long upheld by indigenous knowledge. We are not separate from nature. We are part of it. When I visited Lake Chad as president of the UN General Assembly, I saw what climate breakdown means. A once thriving lake drying, communities losing livelihoods, conflicts rising, hope fading. Environmental collapse is never just environmental. It is social, it's political, it is existential. We need a shift in consciousness, one that integrates ecological sustainability with justice and peace. Planetary health and human dignity are not competing priorities. They are inseparable. We are bound together. We are living through an era of extraordinary complexity and unprecedented possibility. You inherit profound challenges, but also the power to shape history. And remember, you are not alone. You're part of a larger community, one that believes in critical thinking, in creative expression, and social transformation. In your hands lies the power to write a new chapter for our shared future. Not in fear, but in hope. Not in isolation, but in solidarity. Write it wisely. Write it boldly, write it well. Or, as Pope Francis once told me while we were negotiating a very complicated global compact for migration, fight beautifully, fight with kindness. Thank you, and my warmest congratulations to all of you.